Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I want to tell you a story. I've shared one of my stories of a time that I was in South Africa. I want to share another. It was right at the beginning of the dismantling of apartheid, and we were there, and I met these children in a township, and there were 3 daughters in this family, and they had one doll between them. And the doll had little plucky hair, and it was, just, you could tell it was well loved and well used and had been used for many, many years. And these children and their family had been so nice, and they hosted us, and they didn't have much, but they shared all that they had. So I decided that when we went to town, I was going to get them some dolls. And so I went in and I was like, oh, do you have any black dolls? And the people in the stores were like, black dolls? We've seen black dolls. We had black doll and Needy. So nobody had a black doll. And so I started searching. It became a search of mine. And I found these dolls, and I found whatever I could get. And then I got a bunch of dolls. I thought, well, maybe some of the other kids will like these dolls. So I bought the dolls, and I bought some cars and some just little Lego toys, not Lego, but building block things. And we brought them back. And so I give each of these girls a doll. And when I pulled the first doll out, they were like, oh, and they were so happy. Thank you, Mrs. Thank you. And I pulled the second one out. They were like, ooh. Pulled the third out. Ooh. And the looks on their faces were like joy. But what are we going to do with all these dolls? So they said, can we bring our friends? So I said, yeah, actually, I brought more for your friends. So they go and they come back shortly afterwards. And there's all of these kids. And then tons of kids. And then more are coming. And I guess they told some other kids. And then there's a line of kids. And I'm handing out these things. And I know in my heart that I don't have enough. And I started to cry. And one of the little kids put her hand on my shoulder and said, why are you crying, Mrs.? And I said, I don't have enough. And one of the little bouncy kids in the line was like, no, that's okay. We want to say thank you. And then the mother let me know, we're not here. They're not here for presents. They're here to say thank you. These children understood that if their friends had a toy, they had a toy. If their friend had something to play with, they had something to play with. In fact, the 3 little girls who I initially gave the dolls to shared their dolls. They didn't feel that they needed 3 dolls in one house, that they could play with this one doll. And I knew that my kids were back at home measuring cereal in the cereal bowl to say who had more. We don't live in a way where we are grateful for what our friends have. I knew then that with all that we had here, that there was something there worth importing back home. This spirit of Ubuntu that I am because we are, that when you do well, I do well. Right now, people are growing tired of the fact that the conversation is not about them. Folks who've had the conversation be about them for 400 years are tired that for the last 2 months the conversation is about somebody else. But do you know that when I do well, you do well? That when my neighbor's lawn is green and beautiful and lush, I get to see it. I wish that today you find joy in the success of the well-being of others, in their success and their well-being. How are you, my friend? My health is good. Oh, thanks be to God. I love you, and your well-being is my